This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Countdown continues to kick off for number 1 Michigan, number 2 Washington, College Football Playoff National Championship game, 6:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7:30 Eastern ESPN and other ESPN platforms. Whichever team wins tonight, it will become the first non-SEC or non-ACC team to win a national title in a decade. Today, Patriots coach Bill Belichick told reporters he's open to letting someone else handle personnel duties if he remains with the organization. Also mentioned a couple of times he's still under contract. His status for next season up in the air as he prepares to meet with owner Bob Kraft. ESPN's Rex Ryan.
My gut says that Kraft's ready to move on. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I'll say that because he's had 10 weeks to say, this is my coach.
Right.
And this is the future. We're going to keep going forward. It's not going to happen.
Wink Martindale's resigned as Giants defensive coordinator. Earlier today, New York let go 2 of his top lieutenants, outside linebackers coach Drew Wilkins and his brother Kevin, a defensive assistant. Maple Leafs signed winger William Nylander to an 8-year, $92 million extension.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Tuesday as we head into the NFL playoffs, I'll tell you which quarterback I'm most concerned with. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, do we have a ton to get to today. It's the national championship in college football, and that might be the 10th most interesting thing we have to talk about today. So let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, the Saints season came to an end on Sunday. We got a lot to get to. I will certainly talk about LSU hiring Blake Baker, number 1 quarterback in the country, Bryce Underwood, committing to LSU. Jyaire Brown will be with us next hour, Ohio State cornerback transfer. So we got a ton. A national championship game. LSU men's and women's basketball both win. Pelicans blow out the Kings. We have a ton to do. But I'm going to begin with the Saints. So the Saints season came to an end on Sunday. They went out and they blew the doors off the Atlanta Falcons in the second half, 48-17. So as much of a chore as it was watching this team many Sundays, to finish the season by putting Atlanta and Tampa completely, just putting them out in embarrassing fashion. Just choking out Tampa Bay for 3 hours and blowing out Atlanta in the second half, and then adding a little insult to injury at the end, was a great way to finish the season, all things considering. But for the 3rd consecutive year, the Saints season ends without a playoff appearance. And that is unacceptable. There's a lot of layers I want to talk about. Let's start with the game itself. The beginning could not have been worse. The Saints get the ball. They stall out. They punt the ball to Atlanta, and Desmond Mahomes was just incredible. I mean, did you see what Desmond Brady did in the first half against the New Orleans Saints? Anybody catch what Desmond Manning did in the first half against the New Orleans Saints? Yeah, the guy who's been benched 3 times this year and only started this game because the guy for whom he was benched was injured this week, had a perfect passer rating in the first half, 158.3. Not sure if you caught that. Let me say that again. Yeah. Desmond Montana had a future Hall of Famer, Desmond Montana, Had a perfect passer rating in the first half. 14 of 16, 231, and 2 touchdowns. But the Saints held Atlanta in the first half to 20 yards on 8 carries. And if you remember, when they played in Atlanta earlier this season, the Falcons ran for over 200 yards on New Orleans. They had to get better at the line of scrimmage, and they were. So the Saints just kept playing out the string. And you knew Desmond Ridder would show up, and lo and behold, he did. As he threw a ball right into the gut of Alontae Taylor to start the second half, and that would just start the avalanche for the New Orleans Saints. 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. The Saints would just roll. Of course, they would polish it off with the late touchdown by Jamal Williams, which was met with controversy. We will get to that here in just a quick second. For the game itself, it was nice to see the team end on a high note. It was nice to see Derek Carr have a really good day. 4 touchdown passes that matched a career high. It was nice to see Kendre Miller, who has missed most of his rookie season with injury, run hard and play really well. 13 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Y'all, Peyton Turner, former number one draft pick. Only the second game he's been active all year, got himself a fumble recovery and was pretty good in pass rush. So it was nice to see the Saints have the day that they did. Taysom Hill was really effective, carried 6 times. Rashid Shaheed was your leading receiver. Chris Olave made a beautiful juggling touchdown reception where he tipped the ball to himself. It was incredible. So there were a lot of really nice individual moments in this game to send you into your offseason with a bit of a feel-good. But the problem is that feel-good is kind of met with the disappointment of not making the postseason again. So it's conflicting. And 15 weeks ago, I sat in this chair on this day 15 weeks ago, the Monday after week 3, when the Saints lost to the Packers. And I did this rant to start the show, and I kept hitting the table. Do you remember that, Muse? I kept hitting the table.
I remember it.
I was like, you got a special teams touchdown for the first time since 2019, and you lost. And then I hurt my hand. I had to do closed fist. I went and watched it again yesterday just to make sure I didn't mess this up. And I said week 3, this is the game that's going to cost you the postseason because we've seen it the last 2 years. 2 years ago, it was the Giants game. You led by double digits in the second half. You let Danny Dimes come back and upset you in overtime. Cost you a playoff berth. Last year, it was the game in Tampa. You led by 13 with 2 minutes to go. Mark Ingram ran out of bounds. You gagged it away, and you lost, and it cost you a playoff spot. This year, it was the Green Bay game. Oh, there's others. You should have won in Houston. You certainly had no business losing in Minnesota with Joshua Dobbs. The Atlanta game where you were 0 for 5 in the red zone. There were other opportunities. But in that day, you were up 17-0 with 12 minutes to play. 17-0 with 12 minutes to play in Green Bay against Jordan Love, and you lost that game 18-17. And here you are, again, outside of the playoffs looking in, against what was the easiest schedule in the history of this organization, in a division where the quarterbacks were Desmond Ridder / Taylor Heineke, Baker Mayfield, and rookie Bryce Young. A schedule that included games against Chicago without Justin Fields, where you played, what was that kid's name again from Shepherd? Do you remember Division II Shepherd? What was his name?
Tyson Bagent.
Him. You got to play him. You played the Giants without Danny Dimes. Instead, you played Tommy Cutlets. You played Minnesota without Kirk Cousins. Instead, you played Josh Dobbs, who had been there for like a minute and a half. Who else am I missing here? You got to play at Lambeau when the weather was beautiful. You didn't have to go to the frozen tundra. The point is, y'all, you played Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson was lost for the year. The point is, you could not have had a path which was paved in gold more so than you had this year, and you still end up second in your division, missing the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year. It's a conflicting spot. First time in his career, Dennis Allen's had a winning record as a head coach. You finished by winning 4 out of 5, which was a nice way to finish. After a really up and down season. You beat your 2 division opponents when you were in must-win situations, one of them on the road. So there's a lot of that to say it's good. But it certainly isn't good enough. And that has to be recognized. There's a whole nother part of this. And it's what happened at the end of the game. I thought long and hard about this. Muse, you like the movie Ricky Bobby, right?
Yes, fantastic film.
You know the scene, and I'm going on a limb here, guessing most of our audience, our audience is men 25, 54. I'm guessing most people have seen Ricky Bobby, right? Talladega Nights.
I would hope so. Yes.
Yeah. You know the scene where Ricky's dad, who's a total degenerate, right, just can't have anything good. They go to Applebee's.
Oh yeah.
And everything's going really good, right?
Perfect.
Everything is going good. Hey, Ricky and his dad have reunited. The boys are there with their grandpa.
Mom's asking him out.
Reese, maybe we can go dancing lessons on Tuesday night. It's a great time, right?
Good stuff,
It's
man.
a great time, isn't it?
Wholesome.
And it just made everybody uncomfortable. So you had to go muck it up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Dennis Allen did in the postgame, didn't he? Isn't that what happened? If you didn't watch the game, I don't blame you. I'll oversimplify it for you. The Saints are up 41-17. Honey Badger gets a pick. Bro, we got to talk about Honey Badger too. My guy got caught from behind by an offensive lineman. Well, I don't know what Tyron was doing. I don't know if it was like, hey, should I score? Should I not score? I don't know if he flat ran out of gas. I don't know if he just didn't see the lineman coming behind him, but that was embarrassing. We love the Honey Badger, right? He is iconic. But how you didn't score there, Tyron? Come on, bro.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say he was conflicted on to score or not to
Maybe.
score. That's what I'm gonna go with. That's what I'm going with.
I hope so. Anyway, so he goes down at the 1, and instead of taking a knee with a little over a minute left, the Saints punch it in for a touchdown. Jamal Williams, who led the NFL in rushing touchdowns a year ago, had none this season. He finishes with 1 because he punctuates that, and the Saints get to 48-17. After the game, Arthur Smith, going to midfield, F-bombs Dennis Allen. Wondering what you doing scoring there at the end of the game. Well, Dennis Allen goes into the post-game press conference after this, and Dennis Allen, the first thing he says is this.
And I'm going to start off by apologizing to Arthur Smith and the Falcons. That was not a play that we intended to run down there to finish out that game. That's not who we are. That's not how we operate. We should have taken a knee. So I want to apologize to them. Because, look, we got a good rivalry, and it's a heated rivalry. But there's a way we go about doing our business, and I wasn't happy about that.
As soft as Arthur Smith is for F-bomb and Dennis Allen, as soft as Arthur Smith is for F-bomb and Dennis Allen is soft as Charmin in a hurricane for apologizing. Kick rocks, you dork. First of all, anybody who's saying today, well, it's Bush League, or well, there's unwritten rules. Shut up. I got a litany of former players, guys that were all actually played the game, starting with Tiki Barber on the broadcast. Tiki Barber on the broadcast said, Arthur Smith, shut up. How about can we play this, Paulie? This is Tiki Barber on the broadcast afterwards. Can you play this, please? Just play the audio. Play the audio, Muse. On the broadcast, Tiki Barber on the I got 2 things playing at once. That's my bad. Doggone it. Hang on. I lost all my momentum. I don't care. All right, here we go. Play it, Muse.
Opinion. This is football, man. You have the right to do whatever the hell you want.
This is football.
So, with all due respect to Arthur Smith's opinion there, stop him.
Okay. Tiki, don't get mad at me. Tiki Barber. All due respect to Arthur Smith's opinion, stop him. How about Marcus Spears, the big swagoo, played a decade in the league. Arthur Smith, take your ass to the locker room. Stop him. You have way more problems than that TD. You got your ass beat by, okay, that was Marcus Spears, the big swagoo, who's also on my side. Who else we got? How about Benjamin Watson, former Saint as well, Georgia Bulldog, Baltimore Raven. Somebody tell Arthur Smith that it's the defense's job to keep the opponent from scoring, not the opposing head coach. This is embarrassing. Oh, by the way, the 11 guys in the huddle all decided that they were going to go score that touchdown. Dennis Allen, post-game, comes out and chastises his own players for doing it. And then you know what all of his players, to a man, have all said? Yeah, I'd do it again. Jameis Winston, who was the quarterback, said postgame, asked if he regretted it at all. Jameis said, quote, nope. This is the thing. This is about the team. It's not about regrets. It's not about anything else. It's about us as a team making a collective decision. But I do apologize to Dennis. That was not his call. No apologies whatsoever there for Jameis. Oh, wait, no, play it. I'm sorry, you have it. Here was Jameis.
Well, I apologize to DA because the play was victory. But I also explained to DA that it was a team decision. And I think when you have the team morale, and I asked the guys, I say, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective. I give him that. But DA didn't condone that at all. You know, he didn't. However, we decided as a team to do it, and you have that opportunity. We just had that opportunity, and we decided.
Okay, that's fine. Completely disregard Dennis Allen. Jameis, no apologies. Jamal Williams also said he appreciated his teammates for having his back and caring about him. Cam Jordan went and quote tweeted the video of Jameis and said, he got my guy, Jamal Williams, a touchdown, uplift a teammate at Jabbo Wins. That's my teammate. Cam Jordan completely endorsing it there. Also, Cesar Ruiz in the post game, who was on the field for that touchdown, said, when you've got a guy like that who comes in and works his ass off every single day, day in, day out, was the touchdown champion the year before and doesn't have one, I just wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night knowing I didn't get him one. Do you understand the point? To a man, everybody on that team, everybody on the field, all the players are saying, we wanted to get our guy a touchdown, and they went and got it. Arthur Smith, you soft. Dennis Allen, you're softer for apologizing, you weak yellow-bellied no bloobity blue boob. That's in the dictionary in the Geneva Convention. Look it up. I'm sweating now on a Monday. I've gone super long on this segment because I had to take this opportunity to tee off on Dennis Allen. Just when it looked like things were going well. Defense pitched a shutout in the second half. Offense got churning. Maybe you're seeing some potential out of this team, and then Dennis Allen had to pull a Reese Bobby and go muck it up and get thrown out of the Applebee's because that's what Dennis Allen is. And if there is no greater indictment on Dennis Allen than what happened on Sunday, I don't know that anybody will ever be convinced. His team had a direct order from him to take a knee, and they all were like, bleep that guy. We're going to do what we want to do. They don't respect him. He is a substitute teacher. He is a lieutenant, not a general. And as long as he is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, they will not be a playoff team because he is incapable of leading them there. Somebody turn on the air conditioning because I'm sweating now. Y'all complain about being cold in here. Are you cold right now, Muse? Are you cold?
No, I'm actually comfortable.
Paulie, are you cold? Because I'm sweating. Can you see the sweat on my head? I'm wearing makeup. You can still see the sweat on my head.
It's a little chilly in here.
It's after further review. We got to talk about Blake Baker. We got to talk about Bryce Underwood. I got a ton to do. John Stinchcomb is going to be here in 42 minutes. I'm going to ask him about being in the huddle. John may disagree with me. That's going to be really embarrassing if he does. But then I'm going to have this big litany of all these former players that are okay with scoring the touchdown. But we'll see. Maybe he's old school. I don't know. It's after further review. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. It's Pluckers, my goodness. Could you imagine a better night than tonight to get by Pluckers? I mean, you know what tonight is. It's the Natty. It's Michigan and Washington. The game's just down the road in Houston. But if you're not going to be in, is it NRG or is it Reliant now? It was Reliant, now it's NRG. Yeah. If you can't be in NRG, why would you rather be anywhere else? Remember, every Monday at Pluckers is all-you-can-eat wings. So go there early, stay there late. All-you-can-eat wings, pay one low price, eat as many wings as you want all night long. Ice-cold draft beer, all the appetizers as well. But every Monday at both locations of Pluckers is all-you-can-eat wings. So if you want to watch the game tonight in spectacular high definition on huge screens with delicious wings and ice-cold beer, the only place to go is Pluckers. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the beer.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Man, I went long there, got on a roll. I didn't get to talk about it. If you're not watching, this is like the world premiere reveal. So our show Open Every Day, of course, is brought to you by Bud Light. And if you're not watching, you should. Maybe I'll share a picture. Our friends over at Mockler partnered with Kim Mulkey to get women's basketball national championship Bud Light aluminum bottles. I want to talk more about it because there's a story with how these came about. And, man, I'm telling you, y'all, not that anybody would have any doubt whatsoever about Kim Mulkey and her desire to be the best and everything. How this came about, how these bottles came about is pretty cool story about Kim Mulkey, which I'll tell in a little bit, but I want to make sure I get on. But if you're watching us, we always have the Bud Light bottles on set. I literally just got them today. This is the first time anyone has seen them anywhere because they'll be hitting shelves. It's the LSU Women's Basketball National Championship. I don't know if you could zoom, but it's the Women's Basketball National Championship bottles, courtesy of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. They are fine. They got the national championship logo on it. I mean, they are really, really cool. And then koozies as well. I'm just going to put this in your shot, Paulie. And then look, there's a koozie there as well. Cheers to the champs. And then the other side is the logo, the national championship logo with the Bud Light logo as well. So congrats to Kim Mulkey and the champs. And, of course, our friends over at Mockler Beverage. Drink easy with Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, and the official beer of the champs, the LSU Tigers. Usually, if you want to bury bad news, the old rule of thumb in media is, or PR, if you want to bury bad news, you release it on Friday after 3 o'clock. Because by that point, everybody's punted, right? They're off to their weekend, and nobody's really paying attention to the news cycle. So color me surprised when on Friday, my wife and I are at dinner with some friends, and then my phone starts to buzz that the Blake Baker news got released on Friday night about 8 o'clock. If you were here last week, we talked a little bit about it. Things had gotten really sincere on Thursday with Blake Baker. The last I was told Thursday night was that Blake Baker had his LSU offer. Eli Drinkwitz had gone to meet with Baker to try to convince him to stay at Mizzou, and Baker wanted the night to sleep on it and think about it. So I was anticipating sometime Friday morning, lunchtime, we'd see that release, but in the end, it would be Friday night. And this is certainly not news that you want to bury. This is really good news. The only odd thing about it is the timing. LSU hires Blake Baker away from Missouri. They're going to make him the highest paid assistant coach in the country. He'll make $2.5 million a year. I'll remind you, that's what LSU paid Dave Aranda after Aranda was courted by Texas A&M back in 2018 to go be the Aggies defensive coordinator. LSU got him to stay. They paid him $2.5 million. Blake Baker had gotten a raise at Mizzou that was going to pay him. So the contract that he had just agreed to before the Cotton Bowl was going to pay him $2.1 million. LSU offered $2.5 million. So the money honestly was negligible. Like, that's when you're talking about, I'm not going to sit here and diminish $400,000, but when you're talking about the scope and scale of which we're discussing, it's a relatively negligible amount of money. That's not the thing that got Blake Baker away from Missouri. The money, as we were told last week and talked about, was comparable. There were three things, like we talked about on Friday. Number one was family. Blake Baker's wife is from Mandeville. She went to Fontainebleau. She played soccer at LSU. She was an all-SEC soccer player. There's something to be said for coming home, and y'all know if you're married about mama being happy. So that was a big part of it. Number two, you can win a national championship at LSU. You can't win a national championship at Missouri. Missouri in its history has literally never won a national championship. I tweeted that on Friday. There were a lot of Missouri fans who didn't like that, saying Missouri was objectively better than LSU, to which I reminded them LSU objectively beat Missouri in Como this year in a season where Missouri won the Cotton Bowl. LSU and they threw a ticker tape parade. LSU won 10 games and fired most of its defensive staff after winning 10 games. There are just different standards between the two programs, and it's obvious to anyone who's honestly willing to be honest with themselves. And then the third is the opportunity to be a head coach. Blake Baker comes to LSU, takes over this defense, which was historically bad. If the defense improves dramatically or even by 50%, then Blake Baker gets the credit, and he's on everybody's short list to be a head coach. So he's 41 years old and has had a pretty meteoric rise, not that dissimilar from Dave Aranda's rise as a guy in his 30s as a defensive coordinator. Baker went to Louisiana Tech with Manny Diaz. When Manny Diaz left, Baker was promoted to defensive coordinator at Tech. Then Diaz hired Baker as his defensive coordinator at the University of Miami, where he had defensive play calling duties taken from him, and Diaz handled that. And after that was the year Baker came to Baton Rouge. He spent one season in Baton Rouge under Durante Jones in 2021. And then, obviously, Brian Kelly didn't retain Blake Baker. And then he was at Missouri for the last 2 years, where Missouri's defense went from 133rd in the country to 25th this past year. So there are a lot of reasons why you should be excited about Blake Baker. He's a young guy who's got a really good track record. And I could sit here and X and O because I think a lot of people have asked me, a lot of people have asked about Blake Baker and the style he's going to run and all that stuff. What I would say more than anything, listen, LSU is going to fix the defensive talent. There were two really big issues LSU had this year: players and coaching. We ran through it. You didn't have a lot of NFL talent on your defense this year, flatly. But you should have been better than you were. That's no excuse for being historically bad, and that falls on coaching. LSU's already working to fix the defensive talent, right? You did it in the signing class. You're going to the transfer portal. You've got Jyaire Brown at corner. You've got a couple of safeties that are coming in. Sean Washington's coming in from JUCO, is going to help you at defensive tackle. Like, you're going to fix the talent issue on the defensive side. That's what Frank Wilson's there, and you've got a great staff that's recruiting really well and is going to continue to do that to make sure you get the players. But more importantly, I would say, is the culture. And it doesn't necessarily mean that players have to like the coach, but you got to respect the coach. And it was clear at the end these players didn't like or respect Matt House, and that's the reason primarily why things happened so quickly after that bowl game when we saw the video of Mekhi Wingo. I mean, just look, y'all, at the difference between what happened with Matt House being fired and Blake Baker leaving. For example, Matt House gets fired. Harold Perkins. The Rabbits got the gun. You saw that tweet. Braden Swinson literally kicking rocks. We talked about the video with Mekhi Wingo refusing to shake Matt House's hand. That was very representative of how these players felt about their defensive coordinator. On the flip side, look at the response from Missouri when Blake Baker announced he was leaving. Eli Drinkwitz tweeted a picture of he and Blake Baker smoking cigars after their Cotton Bowl win. Thank you, Blake, for all you did for Mizzou football. Your help in all we've accomplished cannot be denied. I enjoyed every minute of our journey together, but it's time for you to go on a new path. Godspeed. I wish you well. All class there by Eli Drinkwitz, but then look at what Blake Baker replied. My brother for life, going to miss you more than anything and so proud of what we were able to accomplish. Thank you for making me a better coach, father, and man. Mizzou football and Como are special, and we will miss it dearly, M-I-Z. Again, that's between the coaches. But then, what about the players? Ennis Rakestraw, one of the best players on that Missouri defense, by the way. There was a fan that was going after Blake Baker. Ennis Rakestraw replies to that fan. Nah, none of that respect. He came in and changed a real bad run defense. Without Baker, a lot of people would have left last year. One of the GOATs, if you ask me. We bought in and went 11-2. Name the last time we did that or won a bowl game. Number 25 defense. Thank you, at Coach Blake Baker. Baker replied, couldn't have been great without guys like you. Do you understand, like, the illustration of the difference? You have players from Mizzou, after their coach leaves for another job, going on social media, taking up for him against fans and lauding him, whereas the complete opposite was true at LSU when Matt House was shown the door. Again, I'm not saying coaches have to be players' best friends, but there has to be at least a synergy and an understanding to where those two can accomplish something together. I want to play this for you. This is back from the 2021 season, the year when Damone Clark really developed into a, not just a good, a great linebacker at LSU, a season when he probably should have been the Butkus Award winner. But he just played on a very bad football team, and so a lot of his effort went unknown. This was Damone Clark that year talking about his position coach, Blake Baker.
He's more than just a coach to me. You know, he's like a father figure. He's like a big brother. I mean, like, whenever I need Coach Baker, you know, if I need anything, you know, I know Coach Baker's always there, and it's just his way of interacting with us. You know, he know the type of guy that I am, you know, and he likes to have fun with it too, you know. And when you have fun when doing things you love to do, you know, there's no problem with it. But if you so uptight all the time, then it'll be, you know, it's like it'll be a tough job.
Damone Clark, like a father figure. There's a tweet from an account. I don't know this account, and I don't know, they didn't credit this tweet to anybody, but it's Tiger Stripes from Durante Jones, who was the defensive coordinator that season in 2021, talking about Blake Baker. Quote, Blake Baker, is a great hire and an even greater person. Now, again, I don't know where that quote is attributed. It's Durante Jones, but it doesn't say when or where, and that's not attributed to any media outlet. But the point is, this is a very clear illustration of the difference of opinions between these two men, what you had and what you now have with Blake Baker. Again, I don't know X and O-wise what Blake Baker is going to do day one to make LSU better. He did it at Mizzou. He's going to be fine, I'm sure. And LSU is going to get better players. But more importantly, I think you're going to get better buy-in from these players for Blake Baker than you had. And I'll say it again. You know, you do not need to be elite defensively, but you need to be good enough. In 2020, when Bo Pelini was here and that defense was horrendous, you had NFL players in that defense, y'all. Stingley, Ricks, Ward, Jacoby Stevens, Cordell Flott, Dwight McGlothern, Damone Clark, Ali Gay, Neil Farrell, Jaquelin Roy, B.J. Ojolari, Apuaika. You had NFL players on that defense in 2020, and you allowed 35 points a game because nobody respected the coach, and the coach didn't know his talent and didn't put those athletes in the position to make good plays. You fix the talent, and you get them playing hard for their coach, you will dramatically improve defensively, and I think LSU is going to be able to do that under Blake Baker. All right. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break, go around the SEC. National Championship game is tonight. Plenty to talk about there. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. That's SouthPointVW.com. They have great inventory on the lot, y'all. Told you we were there 2 Fridays ago. Picked out a brand new Volkswagen Atlas for Erica. If it's the Atlas, which is the 3-row, 7-seater family SUV, the Cross Sport like I drive, which takes out that 3rd row, maybe you want one of the sedans or the compact SUV, they've got you covered. And nobody can offer you better prices than South Point because they're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. And because they move more inventory, they can give you better prices. But, man, the buying experience is always great over at South Point Volkswagen. They'll treat you great when you walk in. Airline just north of Highland or SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, let me knock out a quick break. It is Black Monday in the NFL. We'll get you caught up on all of the latest there, and we'll go around the SEC. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon. Get it done. It's Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. Been a great partner of ours here on After Further Review. We appreciate Gordon and his team so much. And, of course, like we always say, if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. I'll give you the phone number, but it's easy to remember. It's just 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. It's easy. You can fill out the form on the homepage. You can call and talk to someone if you'd rather do that. That's totally fine. But no matter where you are in the state of Louisiana, Gordon has offices all over the state of Louisiana. So if you've been in an accident, don't go it alone. Get Gordon and get it done. And with Gordon, obviously, when he talks about serving the state and giving back, he lives that every single day. You've seen what he's done with NIL, great opportunities for student athletes, but also with Gordon Gives, the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys continues to give back to our communities year after year after year. So if you've been injured, you know what to do. Go to getgordon.com to get Gordon and get it done. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, it is Natty Day. I'll give you some thumbnails here on the Natty coming up in about 10 minutes from right now, and we'll give you a final preview and prediction. I will tell you, for those that are looking to play the game, our buddy Phil Steele over the weekend did have a chance to chat with Phil. Phil's on the under for tonight's ballgame. We'll get Otter Locks with Jimmy later in the show, but Phil had a great year on college football. He was on under 56.5. I just checked. It's at 55.5 right now. You can check it, Muse, if you want to see if there's an updated line. But I think it's that number's come down. So just as an FYI, if anybody wants to get on it early, Phil's on the under, so do what you will. By the way, another great weekend for Jimmy Ott's Football Sunday. I believe there were 9-3. It was another great weekend, another huge weekend for Jimmy Ott's Football Sunday. Been trying to tell y'all, man. Oh. And how about Mike D's angle?
Oh, yeah. Another one.
I'll tell you, bro. Picked the Saints to win and cover, and y'all could laugh at me. It had nothing to do with who was playing quarterback, where the game was played, what was on the line. Mike D's line. It is his angle. It is something we've talked about for years here. The week a team, if they lose their starting center, the week a team is without their starting center, they fail to cover 80% of the time. And that was the Falcons. They lost Drew Dahlman. I went all in on the Saints on Sunday. I never bet Saints games either. Went all in on the Saints yesterday. Rocking chair in the second half.
56 right now at DraftKings for your total in the Natty right now.
It's worth a look if you're interested. Okay. It is after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. It's Black Monday in the NFL. Two very relevant stories in the NFC South. Arthur Smith fired by the Atlanta Falcons. 3 seasons in Atlanta, 3 seasons without going to the postseason, 3 seasons of 7-10. That's right, back-to-back 7-10 seasons. Could never break through. Of course, the big change this year was adding Ryan Nielsen as the defensive coordinator, moving on from Dean Pease. And the Falcons' defense until Sunday turned into a really formidable unit. So Nielsen presumably will stay in play, but obviously with Terry Fontenot, the GM there, came from New Orleans. He's going to be hiring another coach. Second time he'll hire a coach there in Atlanta. But Arthur Smith out. And then then Carolina obviously had already fired Frank Reich 10 games into this season. They've now fired Scott Fitterer, their GM, after a 2-15 season. They're just 14-37, the Panthers are, since Fitterer took over of personnel decisions. So Dan Morgan, you might remember the former Panthers linebacker, Dan Morgan, it was the assistant GM, is now in charge of day-to-day operations until they hire a full-timer there. But Ron Rivera fired. Bill Belichick, still under contract, says he's open to changes, but no decision made there as of yet. Some other things. Wink Martindale resigned as the Giants' defensive coordinator. Looks like the Jets are going to stand pat, waiting for decisions from teams like the Bears. So we'll see. We already knew the Chargers was open after Staley had already been fired. So the coaching carousel in the NFL starts to spin today. All right, it is after further review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here. Love telling you about Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. It is storming in Baton Rouge right now, and it is supposed to be severe. And something that we know about Louisiana is this is the mold capital of the world, for better or worse, y'all. It's the reality of it. Humidity and wetness breeds mold. And so black mold is just commonplace here. If you have mold or think you might, call Pure Restoration. Traditional remediation companies, y'all, they're going to cut sheetrock. They're going to pull out carpet. It's going to do as much damage to get the mold out as the mold itself is doing. Let Pure Restoration come in. They're patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll spray their fog. They'll let it dwell. It'll kill everything. As soon as the fog dissipates, bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, you're back in. Residential means half a day. I mean, I've told you the story before. Pure Restoration fogged a 200,000 square foot building. They were back within 48 hours. It's Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. Pure-restoration.com. Muse, we got another one. Jimmy Graham. Here it is.
What's Jimmy Graham got to say?
Get off of Jameis Winston's back. The man is the best teammate I've ever had. Love this city. This game embodies everything you can ask for in a leader. Was in a rare situation. We all take responsibility. Nobody thought it would get blown out of proportion. Also, F the Falcons. Attaboy, Jimmy!
Just the dismount is perfect there,
Attaboy,
right?
Jimmy! Give me a ding for Jimmy. Something for Jimmy. Round of applause or something. Love it.
Go there, too.
Attaboy. Anyway, 8-0. All right, Muse, hit us a little Tigers in the pros. Or, excuse me, around the SEC. Hit it quickly.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
All right, well, Jermaine Burton over the weekend announced that he's declaring for the NFL draft. Of course, started his season at Georgia. Over 2,300 yards and 23 touchdowns in his career between the Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The Florida Gators.
Florida picked up a transfer defensive back out of the portal from Tulane. DJ Douglas commits to the Gators. 36 games he played in Tulane. Originally walked on at Alabama before transferring down to Tulane, and now will be a member of Florida.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
State got a transfer intra-conference. Wilkie Denard from Auburn, a defensive lineman. Excuse me. You know what? We're just going to move on there.
Yep.
Yep.
Were you going to talk about Noah?
No, I wasn't going to talk about Noah. I was going to talk about Wilkie.
You know about Noah, right?
I know about Noah. Yes, I do know about Noah. Anyway,
I am so glad I'm not a play-by-play man.
Wilkie Denard is leaving Auburn and going to Mississippi State. And then
the Auburn Tigers.
The good news for Auburn is they might have already found his replacement, Trill Carter.
You all right over there, bro?
Whew.
You okay?
Trill Carter,
They're just words.
former Texas defensive lineman, transfers in to Auburn. Started his career at Minnesota, where he played in 32 games. Then went to Texas, and now will go to Auburn. Former 3-star recruit out of the state of Georgia. That is around the SEC. I almost said Tigers in the pros.
Oh, you did almost say that. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number one. John Stinchcomb's here in 13 minutes from right now. I want his perspective not only on this Saints team, but on what happened at the end of the game with the Saints and the Falcons. We'll get a former Saints perspective on that coming up in, 15 minutes from right now. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegel Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham. Mid-City on Donmore and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. I would love to take a quick second, if I could, give a big shout-out to my buddy Butch Drews over at Clegg's. Was texted with him yesterday, and he was out on a little vacation. Sent me a beautiful sunrise from North Carolina. He and his wife Shirley are celebrating 26 years of marriage. So congrats to Butch and Shirley. Hope your anniversary is awesome. You deserve the time away. But that's what you get whenever you go over to Clegg's. Local people who love this community, who are invested in this community, and love helping people with their lawn and garden in this community. That's Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area that we always tell you about. If you're not sure what to get, you can always get a Clegg's gift card. Yes, they've got flowers and plants and trees and shrubs and soil and mulch and all that sort of stuff, but they also have great garden decor. You know what to do. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play. Looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Man, it's a dream come true, to be honest. I'm still wrapping my head around it. Just super blessed to be in this position. This is something that, you dream of as kids, coming to play for the national championship. For us to be here right now, all the hard work and dedication that it took to get here, it definitely showing that it's paid off, but obviously we got to make it happen.
Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. there. It's so interesting stylistically looking at this national championship game, how different the two are. Michael Penix in Washington obviously want to spread it out and throw it around. Michigan is more going to play bully ball at the line of scrimmage. You know what this feels like? Tell me if this makes sense. It does feel like a lot of those Alabama national championship games when they were the big bully at the line of scrimmage facing the Big 12 or the Pac-12 team, and they just dominated the line of scrimmage. That's what I feel like this game has written all over it. I do like Michigan in the game, by the way. It really kind of hurts me to go against Michael Penix because I was on Washington in the Pac-12 championship game. I was on Washington against Texas as well. But the line of scrimmage matters, and when you were dominant at the line of scrimmage, that still does matter. And Michigan is that. They played a super weak schedule, obviously, but I think that's probably the difference. There was an update also. Can you play the Kalen DeBoer #1 Muse? Dylan Johnson, if you remember, the great running back from Washington, was injured as they were trying to run out the clock in that Sugar Bowl. He's been battling that foot injury. Here was Kalen DeBoer with an update on his running back.
We're expecting him to play. He's been through this over the last couple months, and he hasn't missed any time there, and so he's having a good week, getting back healthy. So
Dylan Johnson, they do expect to play tonight against Michigan in the national championship game. I kind of get a sense that most of the fan support is going to be on Washington. The line is going up. It was 4.5. It's now Michigan 5.5. You're seeing a lot of Michigan money come in, and I still think that's a good price. I do think this is a game that Michigan very likely controls early and throughout, as a matter of fact. Do you guys agree? I mean, are you on Washington? Are you, like, as a fan, pulling for Washington tonight?
As a fan, absolutely. But I kind of think Washington wins the game tonight, too. Yeah, I do. I like Michael Penix. I think they have the advantage at quarterback. I think this is probably one of the best. Keeping with your trend of the trenches, though, this is probably one of the best offensive lines Michigan's faced all year. I mean, I'd take Washington's O-line over Alabama's.
You see, I know they won the
Joe Moore, yeah, for sure.
But I've watched enough Washington. I don't think their line is great, and I think they're going to get bullied tonight. Paulie, but just from a fan perspective, I'm curious. Because I don't know. I'm sure there are like polls that say like, who are you rooting for?
Oh, yeah.
This feels like a national, everybody's pulling against Michigan, against Harbaugh, Connor Stallion, stuff like you have the villain, and then you have the underdog that everybody's pulling for. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it kind of feels like.
I don't think that you are.
Paulie, what about you? Fan?
I'm the same. Fan-wise, I want Washington to win.
Okay. If you disagree, let me know. I am interested to see which way the country might go on this. But when you continue to see the line build, you're seeing you're seeing money, both public and sharp money, come in on Michigan. And I think that line is going to keep growing before kickoff. Are you playing Washington tonight?
Yes, I will.
You are. Okay.
Haven't yet, but
okay.
I'm kind of with you. I'm counting on the line.
Let the line keep going.
Yeah.
I just don't think it matters. I think Michigan wins this game and we'll win and cover and probably ends up with a double-digit win in the ball game. I just think they're too good at the line of scrimmage. That's going to make the difference tonight. So, okay, it's after further review. The Sports Center is coming up. When we come back, speaking of line of scrimmage, John Stinchcomb, former New Orleans Saint, I want to ask him about what happened at the end of the game. We'll do that coming up right after Sports Center. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. That's LMFJ.com. I had an awesome time. I was over at Lee Michaels last week, visiting with Amy and with Scott. Man, just a great time sitting down, talking not only about Lee Michaels, but about the way that they go about their business and also the products that they sell and how they go about selecting their diamonds. I really wasn't even aware, candidly, that man-made diamonds had become a thing. But at Lee Michaels, they will not sell a diamond made in a lab. When you go into Lee Michaels, they will only sell mined diamonds. Diamonds from the best diamond mines in the world. Scott goes to India every year to select the best diamond. Before a diamond goes into the case at Lee Michaels, it is observed by family members. You always get the Lee Michaels experience. No matter your budget, you can trust when you walk in, you're going to have a great experience at Lee Michaels. LMFJ.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee. $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. All eyes on Houston tonight, where number 1 Michigan and number 2 Washington clash in the College Football Playoff National Championship game. 6:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7:30 Eastern ESPN, and other ESPN platforms. One day after the Patriots ended their 4-13 season, Coach Bill Belichick, with a reminder for reporters that he is under contract, also said he's open to letting someone else handle personnel duties if he remains in New England. He is set to meet soon with owner Bob Kraft. Should Belichick leave, who might the Patriots consider as his successor? ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
I think Gerard Mayo is on the staff, and he's been linked to that job, but it hasn't been a great year in New England. So I think they'll absolutely talk to him. Do I think he's a lock to get the job? I don't, but I think he would get some consideration, as others will as well. They're going to cast a wide net. Look, Robert Kraft hasn't done a coaching search in 24 years, 25 years.
Wink Martindale's resigned as Giants defensive coordinator, his rocky relationship with head coach Brian Daboll at the heart of the resignation. Tiger Woods announcing his longtime partnership with Nike has ended after 27 years.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Tuesday as we head into the NFL playoffs, I'll tell you which quarterback I'm most concerned with. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU landed a commitment from cornerback Jyaire Brown over the weekend, a transfer commitment. Jyaire Brown's going to be with us in 30 minutes from right now. Saints win. They finished the season 9-8. Never a bad thing when you beat Atlanta, especially when you beat them the way you did. But the game did, of course, end in controversy with the Saints punching in a late touchdown. Arthur Smith not happy about it. Dennis Allen apologizing. Twitter melted because that's what Twitter does. And so we've talked about it a good bit today. I want to talk about that and the team in general, the season in general. Our buddy John Stinchcomb, former Saint grade, who's always good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. John, we appreciate it, man. Happy New Year. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I enjoyed watching those Saints beat up on those Dirty Birds. So life is great out here.
I love it, man. That never gets old. Hey, if you're in the huddle and you're up 41-17, coach calls victory formation, take a knee, and someone says, hey, let's get Jamal a touchdown. What do you say?
Howdy. That's one of those plays where I don't mind scoring against the Falcons. I understand the rivalry better than most. And I don't take issue with trying to score and run the score up, those kind of things. What I don't like is the fashion in which it was done. To do that from victory formation, it lacks so many different levels of control and respect, and it breaks a lot of unspoken boundaries. I think it puts players in hazardous shape down the road. Next time you line up in victory formation, what can you expect from the defense? And I just don't think that was the right look. So I would hope in those situations that you'd have better leadership. And if you want to punch it in, then there's better ways to do that than tricking them with a victory formation and doing it. Again, it's not the issue with the score; it's the fashion in which it was done.
So apparently, reportedly, some of the Falcons players were asking the Saints players, "Hey, are y'all taking a knee?" And they didn't say anything. Does that change anything?
Yeah. I mean that's fairly standard practice out on the field, like taking a knee, right? Especially when you line up that way. Now, I mean, you can try a little cover with saying, "Hey, we didn't respond," but at the end of the day, that formation is a signal to the entire world that the game is over. And, you know, your pain and misery is about to be as well. And, you know, again, if you want to line up and punch it in against your rival and then lining up and do that, it's different than trying to trick them into, you know, that kind of situation. I'm not a fan, nor am I a fan of, you know, it's borderline insubordination or insurrection when players are like, we heard what you wanted, we understand what it is, and we're going to do our own thing anyway. Not a good look.
So that, I think, is the other gigantic question, right? John Stinchcomb is our guest. Just walk me through that, John. When you see Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael call victory formation, the players on the field decide we're not doing that. I don't want to ask you a leading question, so let me just ask you, when you see that, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it questions faith and authority, respect for those that are calling the plays. All that comes into play. And I guarantee that was not part of the mindset and going through the minds of the 11 guys out on the field at the time. It wasn't, let's take a deep dive and evaluate if we decide to get Jamal this opportunity, what other ramifications would that kind of decision make? You know, what would that have? Nobody's going through that level of thought out on the field. And so there is a little piece of that of, you know, maybe they were just focused on, you know, Jamal, one of our brothers, you know, we have an opportunity to get him a touchdown and coming off last year, and all those things that were said out of the locker room probably are very true. With that said, zero regard was held to the fact that that's not your place. And, you know, you start bringing those things into question. I think it points to a much bigger concern for at least your decision makers in that huddle as to, you know, where the authority lies.
Do you think how do you think the organization views that, John? If you could take us like a peek behind the curtain.
I'm sure there's that's some ruffled feathers. I mean, for Coach Allen, he's the one who has to go out midfield after the game and, you know, be on the receiving end of an upset coach. And, you know, is that really, you know, there's a lot of coaches that have bad blood. So what? Arthur Smith gets fired a few hours later and all those things. I understand that. I think the bigger issue is in-house, right? If we're going to be a team, we all have our roles. It's not going to be, you know, if we're looking at this as we're one big body, we all have our roles, and you start questioning and taking the authority and the position that is not yours, then we have bigger issues. So I think that's probably where the discussion is more than anything today, and that, you know, over there on Airline Drive of, you know, hey, this isn't something that we can tolerate. There's space for creativity and players' input, and, you know, there's some variation in it. But at the end of the day, you know, it needs to be, there is a chain of command, and when that gets breached, I would expect some reaction to it.
I love the perspective. I mean, because you're giving us you know, a perspective that we haven't ever played or been in a locker room can't get. So if you're a player, and then Dennis Allen goes into the post-game press conference and apologizes to Arthur Smith and, you know, says the players did it on their own and that's unacceptable, how then is Dennis Allen viewed by the players after that?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of speculation. I'm not in that locker room. And, you know, as an outsider, you know, you immediately question, you know, did they question his authority and all those things? And I don't know what the follow-up of that is. I don't know if there were team leaders that went to him and tried to placate the situation or planning to do that and say, hey, Coach, we have the highest level of respect for you and the decisions that you make. Here was a situation. We understand that it probably didn't get played out the way that you certainly would want, and there's better ways to go about it. And our rationale for trying to promote a brother and get him an opportunity was the perspective we're taking. But I don't know if those proactive steps have been taken in that locker room. I'll say this. I know the amount of leadership that has been in that locker room is one of the strengths. And you look at, specifically on the defense, some older heads with DeMario and Cam. You've got good leaders in that locker room. And I would think the same holds true for the offense. There are some guys out there that you probably didn't have the C on their chest, but you still expect to stand up and be vocal leaders, especially across the offensive line. And so, I think some candid conversations are in order between the folks who have offices on the second floor and the folks that have lockers on the first, and try to figure out, let's make sure that, there's still a healthy respect and relationship that we can move forward and, let this just be a blip on the radar that we forget about in a couple of weeks.
I mean, this is a guy who did have that C on his chest. John Stinchcomb is with us here for a couple more minutes. In all your time in New Orleans, Haslett or Peyton, were you ever part of a situation like that where the players disobeyed something along those lines?
Golly. I can't think of any off the top of my head, obviously not to the attention-drawing level that this play did. And, with microphones where they are and the fact that we get the post-game commentary between the head coaches, it obviously draws a lot more attention. And the fact that the season is over for both teams, that's the last note in which we can resonate for an extended period of time over, rather than let's focus on wild card week and what the opportunities are there. So looking back, I'm sure there was probably some times as players we made choices that were in contrast to what our coaches' desires might have been. So, I'm not going to say we were choir boys. And,
right.
There's plenty of times. Here's a great example. Super Bowl week, right? The lone Super Bowl victory for the Saints. There are plenty of players that missed curfew and weren't back in the stadium for the team photo that next morning. And that certainly wasn't within the will and desire of the coaches. So there was quite the reckoning that we endured during that week, and I think it was a growing point for us. It was something that we were able to use to our advantage, and was probably a necessary evil, if you will. And so that would be my hope and desire for this team, is that they can use a situation like this where, not everybody's on the same page, but yet you can use it as a growing opportunity, if you will.
John, before you go, Saints finished 9-8. It's Dennis Allen's first winning season as a head coach, but obviously this wasn't the expectation that this team had, especially against the schedule that they faced. Do you look at this organization as heading in the right direction toward? It appears as though they're going to maintain the status quo, as heading toward being a championship team again.
Yeah, and I do. I think we are headed in the right direction. There's each time Saints get to this part of the season, you're going, oh man, they're strapped with the cap, and there's some positions of need that they're going to need to address, and all those things are true, but they've continued to find ways to navigate through it and have plans for it. And this season is no different. I say this, of all the middling teams or the teams that were close but didn't make it into the playoffs, and even some that did, I think the Saints are better situated than most. And I do think that there's a lot to feel pretty positive about heading into that 24 season, just for core players and just identity of the organization. But there is work that needs to be done. I think we can all recognize there is a hump that the Saints need to clear. Having a winning record at the end of the season is a big deal, but that's not the goal for this organization. The goal is to win championships and go deep, if not all the way to become Super Bowl champions at the end of the year. That's the goal. And right now we're not hitting it. And so you have to look at that and say there are still decisions that need to be made to get us over that hump.
He is former St. John Stinchcomb, Super Bowl champion. Great stuff as always, man. Thank you as always for the time.
Appreciate you, Matt. Who dat?
It is our pleasure. Who dat? That is John Stinchcomb. AFR brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge and Lafayette. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Hey, remember, New Year's resolution time for a lot of us. Some of us might have even already fallen off. If one of your New Year's resolutions is to lose weight, the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, you've heard about semaglutide. They've got it. Go for that consultation. See if it's something that could help you. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Schedule that consultation online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. Not just semaglutide, but, of course, hormone replacement therapy and dozens of different products and services to help you look and feel like your younger self. Theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, quick break. Jyaire Brown is transferring to LSU, cornerback from Ohio State. He's with us in 15 minutes from right now. We'll talk some hoops next as both the Tigers and the Pels had themselves a pretty salty weekend. We'll get to it. It's AFR.
AFR.
Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. And I'm always careful to say complete employer solutions because at Glow Resources, they're not a temp staffing agency. They don't work for their employees that they place. At Glow Resources, they work for you, the business owner. So if you're a business owner that has gotten caught up in the hiring rat race, especially since COVID, as difficult as the job and hiring market has been over the last 3 and 4 years, Glow Resources can help. glowresources.com. That's glowresources.com. They have a professional placement division. They'll source people from all over the world. They've got engineers from India placed in jobs in Houston. No matter where you are, your business is, or where you do business, Glow Resources can help. They are complete employer solutions. glowresources.com.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
And we have still got so much to do. Thank you for being here. This is one of those 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag day. We're an hour and 20 minutes in the show. I haven't even talked about LSU landing a commit from the number 1 player in the country for 2025. But I will talk about Bryce Underwood to start hour 3. So about 40 minutes from right now. Jyaire Brown's going to be here in about 10 minutes. That's the cornerback transfer commit LSU got from Ohio State over the weekend. So thanks to John Stinchcomb, who was just with us in that last segment. Look, hat tip to Matt McMahon and the LSU basketball Tigers. We have not spent much time at all talking about this men's basketball team because they, quite honestly, haven't warranted it. And we're going to talk about things that are interesting here. That's always going to be the case. I'm not going to force feed something that you're not interested in. I'm going to talk about things that are interesting. And what LSU basketball did this weekend was interesting. They went to College Station and snapped a 13-game road SEC losing streak. And, man, was it impressive, the manner in which they did it as well. The players drenched Matt McMahon with water when he came into the locker room post-game, and that had to feel like a huge monkey off their back. There were 2 things in particular. By the way, this A&M team had gotten all the way as high as number 12 in the country this year. Now, they're sitting here at 5 losses, but so is LSU at 9-5. A&M had won 12 conference games in a row on its home floor. Their last game, incidentally, was LSU's last road win in conference play. And A&M this season has been, going into the game, they led the nation in offensive rebounding. So this was a game where A&M wanted to dominate the glass, and LSU beat them points in the paint, out-rebounded them, and it was a real signature win. And there's 2 things that were so impressive. If you were listening to the game on the LSU Sports Radio Network, Matt McMahon in his pregame interview with Chris Blair talked about 2 things that I thought were impressive. One was talking about Jalen Cook. Give a listen.
Yeah, it's almost like starting the season over a little bit with the addition of Jalen Cook back there in mid-December. It's changed our team in a lot of good ways, and I think you look some areas we discussed after some tough losses early in the season, defensive rebounding, 3-point defense, and then on offense, our turnovers were just 3 poor areas. Been huge amounts of growth in all 3 of those departments. The rebounding and turnovers will definitely be tested tonight.
Cook, by the way, was the only LSU player to score in double figures. And when you look at turnovers, that had been a huge problem for LSU up until this point in the season. But it certainly was remedied on this night. LSU was, I had the ratio, the assist to turnover ratio. I'm sorry, I lost it. I had it here on my notes. Anyway, the doggone it, I had it. Anyway, LSU's assist to turnover ratio, which had been one of the worst in the country, was very good on Saturday night. LSU was 16 assists and only 12 turnovers, whereas A&M assisted on 7 baskets and turned it over 12 times. The other thing, and this might be the most important part of the other night, was rebounding. As I mentioned, A&M, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. They came in as the best offensive rebounding team in the country. Matt McMahon talked about that in the pregame.
Well, I mean, you look at their 3-point numbers, only shooting 27% from behind the arc. But when you rebound half of those misses and turn those into putback layups, it allows you to be a really efficient offensive team. So for us, we want to limit those second chance opportunities, but on the times they do get them, it's a 911 emergency. We got to fly around and get our defense set. Can't let them convert those second chance opportunities into easy baskets.
A&M, as you heard McMahon say, 27% from three, but their key is offensive rebounds and putbacks. On the night, A&M shot 17% from three, but look at the rebounds. LSU out-rebounded A&M 46-40. A&M got just 13 offensive rebounds. LSU out-rebounded them on the offensive glass as well. Just 8 of those were in the first half. So Matt McMahon went in with a plan. His team executed their plan, and they got out of there with a win. They were down 2 at half and just blew out A&M in the second half. Outscored them 38-21. So, listen, I'm not going to do backflips here. I'll remind you, LSU won its SEC opener a year ago at the PMAC against Arkansas. Arkansas was ranked 9th in the country when they came to Baton Rouge in that SEC opener last year. And we saw what transpired after that. LSU lost 13 in a row and finished 2-16 in conference play. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is going to launch this team toward being a tournament team. I don't think they're that. But that was their best win of the year on the road in a tough place to play when they were an 11.5-point dog and managed to win by 15. That'll get your attention. And you're interesting, we're going to talk about you. Congrats to Matt McMahon and his squad for getting that win. By the way, I got to talk Pels real quick. We got Jyaire Brown coming up in a minute. But if you were here at the start of the show, I'll mention this. Hat tip to our friends over at Mockler. Y'all know Bud Light, official beer of AFR. Our friends at Mockler have been an awesome partner in 40 years in our community, servicing much of South Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana. And, Bud Light, the official beer of LSU, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. On Thursday at the women's basketball game, they're going to unveil this, which is the new Bud Light aluminum bottle. It is a exclusive LSU women's basketball national championship bottle. If you watch the show, we've had the LSU football national championship and just football bottles as well here. But the story goes, and I guess I'm okay to tell this story, but they were kind of knocking around the idea of doing like a champions bottle, maybe for women's basketball and baseball, or what they were going to do. Well, Kim Mulkey wanted her own bottle and stumped for this, and our friends at Mockler had to run it up the flagpole at Anheuser-Busch, like way up the flagpole, and they came back and okayed it. So naturally, it's been a little while since March or the beginning of April when they won the national championship. But when I tell you Kim Mulkey refuses to be second in anything, I mean, I've told you the story. Like here at Guarantee Media, where we work in Baton Rouge, we're the flagship of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Eagle 98.1 is where you hear the football games and all. Well, but as the flagship, we carry all programming from football and men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, coaches shows. And Kim Mulkey was not content with the women's games not being on Eagle 98.1, which is where we air football. And then during baseball season or basketball. But, women's sports have largely been on Talk 107.3 or 100.7 The Tiger. There's a lot of different reasons for it. It's just because it's a music format and you're not just going to put every sporting event all the time because there's so many of them. I digress. But anyway, she was stumping for that. Like she wanted her, she wouldn't even settle for the games not being on the flagship radio station. With this instance, she wanted her own bottle. And so she went, and our friends at Mockler made it happen, and they've been great partners of LSU for a long time. So, on Thursday, they're going to unveil this bottle at the women's basketball game, which is really cool. They'll have a big event. And if you're watching, Paul, I don't know if you can get these as well. I can just put it here. You haven't zoomed in. There's a koozie. I don't know if you want me to put it there. There's a koozie as well. It's like sparkly Kim Mulkey sparkly gold koozies, which are really pretty cool as well. It says "Cheers to the Champs" with the Bud Light logo, and then on the other side, it's got the women's basketball national championship logo as well. So they're going to be giving those out at the women's basketball game on Thursday as well. So Kim Mulkey, man, she just refuses to be second in anything, even having her own national championship bottle, which I absolutely love. So congrats to the champs. And this is the first time anybody's seen any of these. So you'll start to see them in stores, which is really cool. And they'll unveil it formally at the basketball game, the women's basketball game on Thursday. But you're seeing it here first if you're watching us on AFR on YouTube or on WBTR. So big shout out to our friends at Mockler for making it happen. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. I will circle back to the Pels. I don't want to be late. We got Jyaire Brown coming up when we return. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, 1hourbr.com. Remember, if your heater isn't keeping up, funny noises, funny smells, when it's cold outside, you better make sure that heater is running safely and efficiently. I love sharing these reviews. Here's a 5-star review, which said, River City's 1 Hour Air is very professional, super helpful. I didn't feel taken advantage of like you can with other companies. 1 Hour came out quickly and did the job within just over an hour. They responded faster than I expected and had the job done well. Well done. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. Give them a buzz today if you have issues with your heater. It's 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks, 752-0001.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, look what I found! The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why. Have you found yours?
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
I'm going to link up here with Jyaire Brown, cornerback commitment for LSU in the portal for this cycle. Backstory, we've talked about, is from New Orleans, moved to Ohio where he finished up his high school career in Cincinnati, went to Ohio State. And now, after a couple of seasons there with the Buckeyes, is transferring to LSU. We all know LSU needs help on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the defensive backfield. So we will get Hopefully we'll be able to link up here with Jyaire Brown. We're trying to connect her on the phone, so we'll see if we get him here shortly. Quick reminder about our friends over at the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. Love telling you about Dr. Blake Williamson, the great work that he does and has done for years. The Williamson Eye Center, more than 70 years in business in Louisiana. So if you've been thinking about a refractive procedure, maybe that's your New Year's resolution, to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. Do what I did. That's williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. All right, any luck yet? Okay. We're trying to connect with Jyaire Brown. Apologies for that. Sometimes it happens with cell phones. You get people on live radio. It's what happens. But LSU did land a massive commit over the weekend with 5-star quarterback and the nation's #1 recruit for the class of 2025, Bryce Underwood. I think this was certainly expected, but it's also something that we shouldn't overlook or downplay in any way. Y'all, what a time to be alive. I mean, what a time to be alive as an LSU football fan. Do you realize that after I'm gonna run through this for you because we talk about this often, and I think we know it intellectually, but until you actually put some attention and color behind it, it may not make perfect, crystal clear sense. Is that him? Okay, just as I'm getting started talking about Bryce Underwood, Jyaire called. So, okay. Sorry to get started and pause it, but I'll pick up with the Bryce Underwood stuff as we were supposed to here in about 20 minutes from right now. LSU did get really good news late last week. Jyaire Brown, a cornerback from Ohio State, commits to LSU, and Jyaire Brown's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Jyaire, man, we appreciate the time. Thanks. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well, man. How are you? How about yourself?
Doing awesome, man. Appreciate it. Hey, real quick, give me your backstory. I know you're from New Orleans and you went to Ohio, and then ended up at Ohio State. Can you kind of fill us in on what happened, with your family and that path that led you there?
For the most part, man, it was just about new beginnings for me. My father, he was actually born in Cincy, so I have siblings and things out there, a couple siblings out there for that part. But it was just, man, just trying to really get closer to Ohio State. Trying to adjust to the weather elements and people out there, just things of that such.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
When you were coming out of high school, well, first of all, do you still have family in Louisiana and New Orleans, still have ties here?
Yeah. Here in New Orleans, I have my little sisters here, my grandma, my grandpa, stepmom, which is, similar to my mom.
Sure.
But all my family, for the most part, here, cousins, things like that.
Did LSU recruit you coming out of high school?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So what was that recruitment like, and why when you were coming out of high school did you pick Ohio State?
For me, I kind of committed a little early, so I kind of shut my recruiting down earlier than other players across the country. But it was kind of a dream school for me, Ohio State. Like I said, my dad being from Cincy, it was kind of just trying to get back to that Urban Meyer, remembering how they were, growing up. But that's it for real.
Yeah, man. So Jyaire Brown is our guest. So why ultimately did you decide to jump in the portal?
It was kind of, from my standpoint, my point of view, I think it kind of got real political. You know what I'm saying? Things that out of my control, begin to occur to happen. Played 10 games freshman year, and then I turned around and ended up playing 4 games sophomore year, and which I got better, and it kind of didn't just add up. So that was really it.
So obviously seeking a new beginning, better opportunity. How did that? How did the conversations with LSU go whenever you went in the portal and they reached out?
Right. For me, coming out of high school was always 2 options. It was either LSU or Ohio State. And when I hit that portal, I kind of already knew and figured, once they got in contact with me and things like that, I knew I would end up landing that.
LSU has always had that reputation, the DBU reputation, man. And the last couple of years, it's kind of not been living up to that standard, man. How much of your decision to come to LSU is that standard, right? I mean, I see the picture of you with the Thorpe Award, and that is a goal.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, that's my main goal, man. Like to win a national championship for the state of Louisiana, and obviously bring back that DBU swag and mentality that we should have over here at LSU.
Jyaire Brown is our guest. You'll follow him on Twitter at JyaireBrown13, Instagram as well. Hey,
yes, sir.
How much was it difficult knowing that you're committed to LSU now, but you're not sure who your position coach is going to be after the staff changes? Did that weigh your decision at all?
Not at all. For me, like I said, it's really just trying to bring back that mentality of DBU and being the best defensive backfield in America, man. Like being the best overall. It's not even about who I'm under coaching wise, staff wise. It's just about getting on that field and changing what's been going on.
Have you had a chance to meet or speak to Blake Baker? I know he's just announced Friday, but have you had a chance to talk to him yet?
No, sir, I haven't.
Have you talked to anybody on the defense? I guess there's only 2 coaches remaining on the defensive staff as of right now, but who have you talked to that's on staff right now?
I haven't talked to anyone on staff right now.
Interesting.
But
But I would assume some of the off-field recruiters. Have you talked to Sherman or any of those guys that recruit off-field?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sherman. Yep.
That's
my main guy right there, Sherman.
Yeah.
Sherman, actually, he's been around for a minute. He was at Memphis before, and then I think another place before that. But Sherman, he's always been around as far as recruiting me, having that relationship with me.
Got a couple more minutes here with Jyaire Brown. When you'll be in campus or on campus, for spring, I would assume, right?
Yes, sir.
Is the objective obviously is to play corner, but do you play boundary or to the field? Like where do you fit best in the secondary?
As far as my play, like how describe my play, I could play field or boundary. I'm really comfortable playing both of those positions. Like my freshman year, I took reps doing both throughout the year. And sophomore year, I was kind of the only corner in the room who knew field corner, boundary corner, and nickel. So not that I would be playing nickel, but it's just adding that value to my game and being able to be versatile in those aspects.
Man, do you know guys on the LSU team? I would imagine you have to, especially just guys you played against when you were in high school.
Yeah, of course. I'm pretty tied into dudes up there at LSU. Like for the most part, everybody. Like Mason. I know me and Mason Smith. We worked out a couple times before. Greg, we was real close. I was real close with Greg Brooks, man. Press him and his family. Just a lot of the younger guys coming in. I know, and Aaron Anderson, like a lot of people on the team that I have relationships with before even playing football. Just being around the city growing up.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like, man, to wear the purple and gold and play in Tiger Stadium?
Can you say it again?
Have you thought about what it's going to be like, man, a kid growing up from New Orleans to be able to wear the purple and gold and play in Tiger Stadium?
A dream, like a real life dream come true. Like I did say, Ohio State was a dream school, but it didn't work out how I did, like how I expected it to work out. But I just really expecting this to be everything that it should be. You know what I'm saying? And being able to play in front of family and that purple and gold inside Death Valley, just that atmosphere, everything should be.
Who you got tonight, man? The school up north or the other purple and gold?
I ain't really gonna pick no sides with that one, but I'm hoping Washington come out with it. Hopefully.
I don't blame you, man. I would expect nothing less. Even though you're not at Ohio State anymore, man. Those ties run deep. All right, Jyaire Brown, man. I appreciate a couple of minutes, man. I know a lot of people are excited to see you in the purple and gold starting in the spring, man. We'll talk soon.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I appreciate the time and opportunity, man.
That is our pleasure. Thanks, Jyaire. That is Jyaire Brown transferring in. LSU needed help at cornerback. I don't think anybody would deny that, man. You got a lot of young talent there, but Jaire's a guy that played a lot as a freshman at Ohio State. Saw his playing time, as you heard him say there. Dip a little bit here. Played 9 games as a freshman. Played in just 4 games in 2023. But he will have an opportunity to come in and play immediately and be a starter on this defense, certainly to compete for a starting job. J.K. Johnson, I'm negligent. I should ask him about J.K. Johnson because they would have been teammates at Ohio State in 2022. But J.K. Johnson coming off of injury, Zy Alexander coming off of injury. You bring in Jyaire Brown. Then you have all the young guys that got reps this year, guys like Ashton Stamps and Jeremiah Hughes. Or do you move Javen Toviano back to safety? Do you move Sage Ryan back to safety? It gives you options. It certainly is what it does. And the young guys like Bernard Causey coming in, they'll be better. I don't mean to be disrespectful to say it this way, but it would kind of be hard to be worse. But how much better can they be? A guy like Jyaire Brown helps, certainly. Okay, it's after further review. Love telling you about our friends over at Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. If you need new tires, you go to Shaw Bills. So I got to remember, you need tires, go to Shaw Bills. Because Shaw Bills has been selling the best tires on the road for the cheapest price possible since 1968. It's easy to say, it's harder to execute year in and year out. But when you've done it for almost 56 years now, you can wave that banner. Shaw Bills sells you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. And when you get in, because they treat you like family, you will keep coming back year after year after year. I had a coworker, a colleague, tell me that his spouse, she shops price. She's just going to go shop best price. She had an issue with the tire, heard me talking about it, brought it to Shaw Bills. They repaired her tire for free, like I always talk about, because that's what they will repair your tire for free. And she said, I will never go anywhere other than Shaw Bills because of the way they treated me. And that's how they've built their business, and it has worked for more than half a century. It's Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. Okay, I had started to talk about Bryce Underwood there, and then we connected with Jyaire. So let me break. We'll come back. Muse will do Tigers in the Pros, and then I'll start hour 3 with my thoughts on LSU landing Bryce Underwood, so we'll get to that. We'll give you a pick on the national championship game. We'll have Otter Locks if you missed it. John Stinchcomb was here earlier this hour talking Saints. I did give you my thoughts on the Dennis Allen, Arthur Smith feud as we started the show. We talked Blake Baker in hour 1, so we have got a ton. Remember, if you missed anything, it's all on demand at 1045ESPN.com, or just search After Further Review in your favorite podcast app. You get the whole show, or on the After Further Review YouTube channel. So lots of ways to get any content that you missed. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. When you think real estate, you think Darren James. It's Darren James & Associates, brokered by LPT Realty, the fastest growing real estate company ever. That is not hyperbole. That is not just a word salad. That is absolute, literal truth. The fastest growing real estate company ever. In 1 year, they went from 0 to 6,000 agents. Other nationally known real estate brands, it took 7 to 10 years to reach those numbers. But for Darren James & Associates and LPT Realty, 1 year. And shout out to our guy, Darren James, who's a finalist for the top brokerage in the country from Inman Innovators and LPT Realty. If you need a realtor, you need the absolute best. You need Darren James. 335-7666. That's Darren Sell. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Let's get right to it. We'll start with the UFL, which held their draft over the weekend. And you have 7 former LSU Tigers now going to play in the UFL.
Okay.
Headlined by Danny Etling. He'll be with the Michigan Panthers. Vidal Alexander will be with the St. Louis Battlehawks. Derek Dillon, the Memphis Showboats. Kevin Tolliver with the San Antonio Brahmas. And there are others, so we will keep you up to date with that as, of course, their season gets underway. NFL action yesterday for the former Tigers. Tyrann Mathieu, we mentioned it earlier in the show, 3 total tackles and then the interception that almost was a pick six, fell down at the 1-yard line, or got caught, if you want to say that, at the 1-yard line before taking it the distance, but a solid day nonetheless for Tyrann. How about this note for Justin Jefferson? What a season that he ended up having. So yesterday, 12 receptions for 192 yards and a score. That day, that performance put him over 1,000 yards on the season. And you might say, well, what's the big deal? It's Justin Jefferson. Well, he missed an entire month of the season, actually a little bit more than that with his hamstring injury, and then had to play with not 1 but 2 backup quarterbacks and still manages to get over 1,000 yards. Really great season for Jets, and a tip of the hat there.
So he's the 3rd player in NFL history with 1,000 receiving yards in 10 or fewer games. Only Wes Chandler and Jim Benton did it. I know Wes Chandler. Wes Chandler was a Florida Gator. I have no idea who Jim Benton is, but shout out. Wes Chandler, Jim Benton, and Justin Jefferson.
We all know who Justin Jefferson is.
Yes, we do.
Danielle Hunter capped off a great season for him. 6 tackles, a sack. That gives him 16 and a half sacks on the season. Top 5 in the NFL. Added another tackle for a loss. He will now head into free agency. And I would imagine a pretty big payday is coming for him. Dante Jackson had 7 tackles in the game for the Carolina Panthers. DJ Chark. Oh, yeah, man, I know. 2 receptions for 46 yards. But 1 very costly fumble.
You too, Terrace Marshall. You're not off the hook.
Yeah, on the long. Yeah, we were gonna get there on the long of 42 for Chark. He fumbled into the end zone and ended up being a touchback. And there were a couple touchdowns taken off the board for the Panthers yesterday. So rough stuff there. In the interest of time, we'll move on here to basketball from last night. Cam Thomas finally back on the board. Cam Thomas, he had been shut out a couple of times, but he had 9 points last night. Good for him. The story in that game is Duop Reith. 15 points, 13 rebounds, double-double for the 27-year-old rookie for Duop. Got a start, too. Played 41 minutes and shot 50% from the floor. Just an all-around great night. News for the Portland Trailblazers today. This comes via Woj. Skylar Mays has agreed to a two-way deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. So Sky's going to go play with LeBron and that no-good trader, Anthony Davis. Last thing to get to here is Naz Reid. And Naz nearly missed the double-double last night. 15 points, 9 rebounds, shot 7 of 12, 27 minutes off the bench. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Should have stayed. All right, it's after further review. Putting a button here on hour number 2. When we come back, we'll talk about Bryce Underwood. We're 2 hours into the show and haven't been able to get to it yet. That's how jam-packed we have been today. But LSU, of course, did land a commitment from the number 1 player in the country for the class of 2025. That was expected, but I do want to react to it. So we'll get to that. National championship game is tonight. You know that. It's Michigan and Washington. The line is up to 5.5. The Wolverines are favored. Can Washington pull off another upset? This time the biggest, certainly, of the season. We'll get to Otterlocks at the end of the show and see if Jimmy has a side. But I'll tell you one thing I did mention earlier. I'll say it again for those who are looking to play the game. Phil Steele, who's with us every Friday throughout the year, has the under in this game. He gave it when the number was 56.5. I believe it's at 56 right now. But under is Phil Steele's play. I have played that. But we'll see what Jimmy has when he's here for Otterlocks 1 hour from right now. Sports Center. Then hour number 3 is next.
AFR.
Run about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. 2 things. Number 1, it is storming today, torrential rain, hail. If you have hail, think you might have hail damage, wind damage, let us come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. I want to remind you, Hudco is all over the state of Louisiana. 225-504-985-337 and 318. Company started in Bossier, so got our office up there in Bossier as well. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You go to the website, fill out the form right there on the homepage. We'll give you that free, no-obligation inspection. Remember also, commercial buildings. If it's new construction and you need a roof, of course you do, Hudco can help. Maybe you need that roof replacement on a commercial building. Flat metal roofs, if TPO, we have a silicone coating product that we tell you about. No job too big or too small. I can help facilitate if you want personally. Matt at HudcoRoofing.com, Matt at HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Countdown continues to kick off for number 1 Michigan, number 2 Washington CFP National Championship game. ESPN radio coverage in 30 minutes, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN and other ESPN platforms. This will be the first time since 2014 that a team other than one from the ACC or SEC will win the national title. Today, Patriots coach Bill Belichick told reporters he's open to letting someone else handle personnel duties if he remains with the team. Also mentioned a couple of times he's still under contract. His status for next season up in the air as he prepares to meet with owner Bob Kraft. ESPN's
My
Rex
gut
Ryan.
says that Kraft's ready to move on. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I'll say that because he's had 10 weeks to say this is my coach.
Right.
And this is the future. We're going to keep going forward. It's not going to happen.
Wink Martindale resigned as Giants defensive coordinator. His rocky relationship with head coach Brian Daboll at the heart of the resignation. Seahawks coach Pete Carroll told Seattle Sports 710 AM radio he intends to return in 2024 for a 15th season with the Seahawks.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Tuesday as we head into the NFL playoffs, I'll tell you which quarterback I'm most concerned with. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. If you're out there in this weather, be safe. Remember, if your wipers are on, your headlights need to be on, and buckle up as well. Drive safely. We got you here for another hour, and then we'll hand you off to the national championship game and all that stuff. So a busy hour ahead of us. Saturday was huge. What a time to be alive. I'm sure you've heard by now that LSU landed a commitment from the number 1 quarterback and number 1 player in the country for the class of 2025, Bryce Underwood out of Michigan. He made the announcement, an announcement at his school there in Michigan, where he pulled out a hat and an LSU jersey, a number 19 LSU Underwood jersey, and laid it there on the table. And with that, skyrocketed LSU's class up to number 2 in the country now, coincidentally behind only Notre Dame. But the big difference is that Notre Dame has far more prospects committed right now. LSU with their 8 commitments, including 3 5-stars, the number 1 quarterback, number 1 receiver, number 1 running back in the country for 2025. when I say what a time to be alive, I want to lend some perspective because I can say this out loud and we all know it to be true, but sometimes when you add color and description, it just pops even more. And I've said it a lot this year, as have many others, but LSU was a quarterback graveyard, a wasteland for a decade. And only when Joe Burrow came here did it turn things around in dramatic fashion now, where you've had 2 Heisman Trophy winners in a span of 4 years, and you just landed a commitment from the number 1 player in the country. But here's what I mean. After LSU signed Ryan Perrilloux in the class of 2005, who was a 5-star and the number 1 quarterback in the country, here's the list of quarterbacks that you signed out of high school since Perrilloux. You ready? Take a walk with me down memory lane. Jarrett Lee, Jordan Jefferson, Chris Garrett, Russell Shepard, Zach Lee, Stephen Rivers, Jeremy Liggins, Anthony Jennings, Hayden Reddick, Brandon Harris, Justin McMillan, Lindsey Scott, Lowell Narcisse, Miles Brennan, Peter Parrish, TJ Finley, Max Johnson, Garrett Nussmeier, Walker Howard, Ricky Collins, and now Colin Hurley. Y'all, I'm trying to be nice because all them is young people and they try really hard, but there ain't a lot of good on that list. You know what I mean? You needed Zach Mettenberger, Danny Etling, Joe Burrow, and Jaden Daniels. 4 transfers to salvage any type of offensive culture. And then obviously the kaboom was with Joe Burrow, and now Jaden Daniels has won the program's 3rd Heisman Trophy, 2nd in 4 years. Ain't a lot of good. But now you're talking about a program that has won 2 Heisman trophies at the quarterback position, just led the country in total offense, and had a transcendent-type season under Jaden Daniels. You've got Colin Hurley signed, who is a really impressive young prospect, and you just got a commitment from the number 1 player in the country, a consensus, composite number 1 player in the country, who also happens to play the quarterback position only once in LSU's history. Only once in LSU's history have they ever signed the number 1 player in the country. That was Leonard Fournette 10 years ago, a running back from New Orleans. Fournette was a transcendent player who had an amazing LSU career and was a must-get because we all saw Leonard Fournette from the time he was in the 8th grade and he was right there at St. Aug, and you had Frank Wilson on staff, and you had to sign Leonard Fournette, and you did. This kid's from Michigan. He ain't got nothing to do with LSU or Louisiana or the Bayou or anything. So how about an amazing hat tip, attaboy, congratulations to Brian Kelly and to Joe Sloan, primarily his recruiter, for getting this done. I mean, what an incredible yo moment for this program. And I know because I heard it this weekend. I heard it. Yeah, Matt, well, he still got a year before he signs. He could decommit. Sure, he could. Matt, even if he does sign, transfer portal will probably leave after a year. Might. Don't care. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy the fact that the number 1 player in the country, a quarterback from Michigan, is committed to your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Enjoy that. The cachet, what that means of having him in this class. Will it work out? Maybe. Maybe not. Don't know. That's not the point. The point is, the future of your quarterback position looks really, really good. In 24, you've got Nussmeier, who's been waiting his turn. A.J. Swan, back up with experience. Ricky Collins is a redshirt freshman, and Colin Hurley coming in behind them. In 2025, Nuss could come back, could go pro. A.J. Swan could come back, could transfer. Ricky Collins could come back or transfer. Colin Hurley could be a redshirt freshman, and Bryce Underwood will be on campus. And then after that, who knows? Yes, the quarterback position, more than any other, is transient. It is fluid. Guys don't stay. They look for an opportunity to go somewhere. But the reality is, you can never I'll say this again, big, bold, underline, underscore. You can never, ever have too much experience, too much talent at the most important position in organized team sports. If you have a chance to get the number one player in the country to your campus, you do it, you celebrate it, and you use that to build up an even better class. And I'll remind you this. There are 2 times prior where LSU had a movement what feels like this one is. 2001, 2011, where you built incredible signing classes on guys who all decided they were going to do it together. 2001, that was the team that Nick Saban got his first full class at LSU, a bunch of dudes from Louisiana who were like, we're going to build a championship. We're doing it in our home state. Michael Clayton, Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill, that class in 2001. Andrew Whitworth, Rudy Neiswanger, that class, which was the cornerstone of the 03 championship. 2011, they call themselves the FAM. Odell, Jarvis, Lyle Collins, Freak Johnson, Kenny Hilliard, Trey Turner, that crew. And they all wanted to do it together. They stayed together to build a giant class. Look at what this class is right now. Harlem Berry, DeCorian Moore. Now you add Bryce Underwood. Of course, we know what Keelan Moses at U-High has said. He's told Brian Kelly he's going to be the ringleader of this class and build it. Go get the best players in the country. Sometimes those dudes commit together because they want to stay together and play together and try to win together. I'm not worried about what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 or 4 years from now. But in this moment, that's massive to have that guy in your class with 11 months to go before signing day, not just because he's in your class, because what that means from a Pied Piper effect of bringing other great players here. Look, you will sort out the quarterback position in the future year by year. You will assess what happens in the portal, who stays, who goes, all that sort of stuff year to year. And you have to do that year to year. Look, 6 months ago, nobody was thinking A.J. Swan was going to be an LSU Tiger, but the situation arose and necessitated it. So that's where you're at. And you'll do it again every spring and every fall and every summer and every winter based on what happens in that given year. But LSU just got a commitment from the consensus number 1 player in the country, a quarterback from Michigan. Yes, the same program that went a decade with having Jarrett Lee, Jordan Jefferson, Chris Garrett, Russell Shepard, Zach Lee, Steven Rivers, Jeremy Liggins, Anthony Jennings, Hayden Reddick, Brandon Harris, Justin McMillan, Lindsey Scott, Lowell Narcisse, Miles Brennan, Peter Parrish, TJ Finley, Max Johnson, Garrett Nussmeier, Walker Howard, Ricky Collins, Colin Hurley. You think I'm not going to sit there and do a backflip because Bryce Underwood's committed to LSU? You damn right I am. And I love everything this kid had to say as well. I love what his family has had to say as well. His dad gave an interview to 247, and he said, quote, this was from Bryce Underwood. The program itself is very historical. A lot of great players went in and out of Louisiana State University. The food is amazing. A lot of real people there. A lot of people from Michigan. A lot of things we can relate to. Underwood's father, in the same interview, said Brian Kelly did an amazing job putting the staff together and everyone knows their role. Like we told them, it's not the buildings. Everyone has beautiful buildings. It's the people. How people approach you, how they take their time with you, their emotion, their demeanor. They're blatantly honest and give you the real on their expectations for their team and young men coming into the program. Bryce Underwood's mother in this interview, Beverly, talked about school being a priority and the 2 programs that her son is going to pursue, psychology and sports medicine. I mean, LSU did an incredible job recruiting Bryce, the entire family, and getting a transcendent type player committed to this class. You can sit there and you can bemoan the culture in college football with transfer portal and guys leaving and whatever the case may be in NIL. But on this day, you better celebrate having that dude because it has literally happened once before in the history of the program where you got the number 1 player in the country. And that was a running back from St. Aug. This is a quarterback from Michigan. That's not to diminish Fournette at all. Greatest physical runner that LSU's ever had in this program. Bryce Underwood could be the best quarterback that LSU's ever had in this program. We'll see. Might sound like blasphemy now, but it's going to be a fun journey to see how it gets there. Bryce Underwood becomes the 8th commit for LSU's 2025 class. What a time to be alive. Okay. It is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back. If you got Questions, comments, get them in. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back, get to some of your interaction. More from Dennis Allen as the season. He had his season-ending press conference today. We'll get to some of that. College football national championship preview and prediction about 15 minutes from right now. Otterlock still to come. Ton to do. Glad you're here. AFR.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, tomorrow is the latest evenings at the Renaissance. I've been talking about this now. It is sold out. I regret to inform you, it is sold out. Well, why are you talking about it, Matt? Because there are 3 pair of tickets remaining, and I have them, and I'm giving them to you. So if you would like to go to evenings at the Renaissance tomorrow at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel, text me in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Text the word Renaissance, and we'll pick 3 winners. 3 pair of tickets. It's cocktail demonstrations with Sugarfield Spirits. You'll have the opportunity to taste 3 different cocktails, the Bee's Knees, the Classic Martini, and the Honey Badger. And I have 3 pair. You want a date night? Let me know. Shoot me a text, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Evenings at Renaissance tomorrow. You want to go? Text me right now on AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
I'm a little surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I'm looking at a lot of the reaction to the little post-game feud there with Dennis Allen and Arthur Smith. If you missed it again, I think by now most people know what happened. Saints scored late. They punched in a late touchdown. The coaching staff had told him to take a knee. Dennis Allen afterwards apologized. And then can you play number 2? This was Dennis Allen blaming the players for it.
We should have taken a knee right there. They asked me about getting Jamal a touchdown at the end. I said I wanted to take a knee. We put victory out there, and the guys kind of wanted to get him a touchdown, and they did that on their own. That's not acceptable.
So Arthur seemed pretty upset after the
He should be.
Is that what he was
He should be.
referencing?
He should be.
So Dennis Allen saying Arthur Smith should be pretty upset. Here was Arthur Smith after the game, who got fired today, by the way.
Look, they can do whatever they want. There's no rules against it. Like I said, we didn't stop them in the second half. They can do whatever they want. It is what it is. Like I said, hats off to them. They kicked our in the second half. They made us pay and took advantage of turnovers. That's their prerogative. It's also my prerogative to tell them how I feel. Whether people like that or not, oh well. But like I said, credit to them. I mean, they do whatever they want there.
That's a guy who sounds like he knew he was about to get fired. I thought the best response of all was from Alvin Kamara. If you don't follow Alvin Kamara on Twitter, AK tweeted. He tweeted my naysayer with a heart, the fingers crossed emoji, and tagged at Jabo Wins, which is Jameis's handle. If you don't know the reference, before the Rose Bowl, a College Game Day was doing Reese Davis was setting up a package on Jalen Milroe, who has his own branded clothing line. Well, he starts to explain the acronym, and then Pat McAfee jumps. If you missed it here, just listen.
Jalen Milroe often wears his own branded apparel reading LANK across the front. It's an acronym that stands for Let a Naysayer Know. Being told by his former offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien.
That is not what I thought.
Is that not what you thought?
Boy, let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know.
Of course.
The professional's right in the middle of his lead. That's all right. I just keep going.
You almost lost me. It got real tight up here as you were. I just want to let you know.
Reese, you were too smooth with that. I thought it was going down.
Okay. So Reese was doing the read of Let a Naysayer Know, which is Milroe, L-A-N-K, Let a Naysayer Know. McAfee interjected there like, I did not think that's what you were going to say, as you heard. And then you've got Joey Galloway and Desmond Howard, who are both black men, laughing their asses off on the set because everybody know, right? I mean, everybody know. I'm a white guy. I don't care. We all know what he's trying to say, and you cover it up and make it clean by saying, let a naysayer know. Fine. It's hilarious. I'm good with it. Whatever. I mean, I just noticed his RC quote tweeted it about the funniest piece of TV ever. Let a naysayer know. I thought he was going somewhere else. Everybody did. You hear him saying it. Sounds like he's going somewhere else. You all know what he's trying to say. But anyway, so Alvin Kamara, to bring it back, Alvin Kamara tweeted my naysayer at Jabo Wins, at Jameis Winston, in reference to that, which is hilarious. Point is, they've all got Jameis's back. I mean, every single Saints player who's tweeted about this, talked about it. It's just such a revelation of what we've talked about all year, which is they don't respect Dennis Allen. I mean, even with all of the hell that Dennis Allen has caught, there's still, as much of a deal as that became, the players still in the postgame went out and continued to double down. Here, play Jameis, please. This was Jameis after the game about the decision.
Well, I apologize to DA because the play was victory. But I also explained to DA that it was a team decision. And I think when you have the team morale, and I asked the guys, I say, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective. I give him that. But DA didn't condone that at all. You know, he didn't. However, we decided as a team to do it, and you have that opportunity. We just had that opportunity, and we decided.
It's just a very clear and blatant disrespect for your head coach, which is what happens when you don't respect your head coach. John Stinchcomb was here last hour, and I asked him, did you ever do anything like that to Sean Payton or to Jim Haslett when he was the coach? No, I mean, look, you said they maybe broke curfew around the Super Bowl, which around Miami, I don't blame you for that. But anyway, the Saints are going to have a long offseason of decisions to make. Dennis Allen met with reporters today on Monday to do the postmortem on the season, and we'll get to that, sort of the postmortem tomorrow. Today was more about the game itself against the Falcons and that post-game spat. But, Dennis Allen was asked, about what the tasks are going to be this offseason for the Saints.
I think that's part of what we have to do this offseason as an organization, players, coaches, front office, everybody. I think we just got to look at, what are we going to do differently, because we're all part of the problem, and now how are we going to figure out how we can all be part of the solution? And that's really what, this offseason is going to be about.
Certainly doesn't sound like a guy that's about to get run. Sounds like a guy that's getting ready for his third season in New Orleans, unfortunately. Okay. It is after further review. Another LSU Tiger is leaving the program. We'll get to that in just a second. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. I always encourage you. You can go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. It's really simple. Land loans for land, if you want to build your country home, for agriculture, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. More than 100 years. They have been helping Louisianians finance land for more than 100 years. They're a great local business. I've had such a pleasure getting to know Ben and Tim and a lot of the guys over at First South Farm Credit. And a lot of people may ask, well, why not just go to my bank or whatever, whoever he is? Because this is specifically what they do. They finance land, 10 acres to 1,000 acres. You want to have your own piece of hunting property? First South Farm Credit can make it happen. And they got 44 branches, not only in Louisiana, but in Mississippi and Alabama as well. And I want to remind you, if you're from Louisiana and you want to finance land, say a hunting property in Mississippi, First South Farm Credit can help you finance land in any of the contiguous 48 states. So no matter where you're looking to buy land, First South Farm Credit can help. FirstSouthland.com. Again, go to the website, FirstSouthland.com. All right, y'all. It's after further review. I mentioned another Tiger is leaving Baton Rouge. This just a little breaking news. This just coming down right now. LSU running back Noah Cain has announced he is declaring for the NFL draft. So Cain was a class of 2019 signee. So because of the COVID year and his redshirt year, Cain is one that has who could use a sixth year of eligibility. He like Charles Turner, the other members of the 2019 class who redshirted and had the COVID year, could return for a sixth season. Josh Williams is another who said he plans to return for a sixth season. But Noah Cain will not come back to LSU. He'll declare for the NFL draft. And this is probably the right decision for Noah Cain. He's a guy who is a guy from Baton Rouge, as we know, who left and went to Penn State and transferred back to LSU. And in his 2 seasons in Baton Rouge, he's just been caught in a logjam of a really deep backfield. Had some younger guys behind him, some transfers who have come in. But is a guy that worked very hard this offseason to overcome those injuries. And in the announcement, he thanked Brian Kelly and Coach Wilson for the opportunity to play in Tiger Stadium, to play in his hometown. And that matters so much for a lot of guys. But for this season, Noah Cain, just 37 carries for 181 yards and 3 touchdowns. Provided some veteran depth in that backfield, but Noah Cain is headed to the NFL draft. So when you look at that running back room, as we know, it really feels like, man, this is going to be Caleb Jackson's room to run. Caleb Jackson, Trey Holly, very likely going to have Josh Williams back for a 6th season. Then you add freshman Caden Durham. Those 4 scholarship running backs, maybe with the opportunity to add another somewhere along the way. But that's where LSU is right now for 2024. Noah Cain headed to the NFL draft. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you some final thoughts and run through. Excuse me. We'll give you some final thoughts and run through a preview of the national championship game with Michigan and Washington. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. Let me focus my brain. When we come back, give you a final preview and prediction on the national championship game, and then Otter Locks in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll see what side Jimmy's betting on tonight. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
You know, if you live in Louisiana, as I'm sure many of you do, it is no secret what the dozens of plants up and down the river mean to our economy. And when it comes to doing work in those plants, a Louisiana company that can give incredible service, quality, and maybe most importantly, safety is Action Industries. I'll give you the website here in a second. But one thing that's undeniable, you cannot get into one of those plants to do work without an incredible safety record. And Action Industries, which opened their doors in 1982, Action Industries is literally as old as I am. Their safety record is above the industry average, and their quality is unparalleled. It's Action Industries. Action, INDINC.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. but our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
We play for each other like we have all year. We only have 3 days left together, and I feel like just being able to, re-emphasize the message, how do we want to be remembered, boys? And just going out there, leaving it all on the line every single play, and, emptying the take in the game plan and calling plays and all that. So I just feel like it's just going to be really magical to go out there with this team and everything we've been through and just the amount of love we have for each other. It's all about playing for each other.
It's Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy's win away from Michigan's first national championship since 1997. Of course, when Michigan beat Ryan Leaf and Washington State in the Rose Bowl, they would share the national championship that year with Nebraska. Thank goodness we are beyond the era of shared national championships, but still an opportunity here for Michigan to do something they haven't done at that program in about a quarter century. While a lot of the focus is clearly going to be on the offenses and the quarterbacks, two guys that are projected to be really high draft picks. You heard McCarthy there, and of course Michael Penix, who's just been stellar. I really think Michigan's defense is the differentiator in this game. Penix was asked about how offensively Washington goes about trying to have success against a Michigan defense, which leads it's literally the #1 defense in college football.
You're going to need it all. They're a really good team over there, and they do a lot of good things, So, I feel like the biggest thing is just executing. It's just all about execution, just trusting in our preparation and our offense that we have. And at the end of the day, as long as we execute, we'll be able to get it done. So.
Washington is going up against a defense which is #1 in the country in total defense and #1 in scoring defense in an era where offenses dominate the day. Michigan allows 9.5 points per game. Now, the caveat is fair to say, well, who did they play? And during its regular season, outside of its game against Ohio State, where they won 30-24, or Penn State, which at times struggled to score against their better opponents, Michigan won that game 24-15. If you remember, that was the game where in the second half Michigan didn't throw a pass. There just weren't a lot of great opponents on this schedule, which is why Michigan's strength of schedule was so low this year. East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State, then Iowa. Until the Alabama game, the only ranked opponents that Michigan played all year were Penn State and Ohio State. That was it. The only ranked opponents they played all year. But then they played Alabama, and they limited in overtime Jalen Milroe and that Alabama offense to 20 points. Now, I know Michael Penix and Washington are a different beast offensively, but I think Michigan's defense is legitimate. I know the knock on them all year has been the strength of schedule, the lack of playing great opponents, and I'd certainly agree that Michael Penix will be the best quarterback that they will have faced all season long. But the flip side of this is also true, where Washington's offense is great. They're scoring 37 a game. Michigan's defense is good enough to limit the Washington offense, which at times has been limited this year. They've won every game they've played, and I am not going to minimize that at all. It is an incredible feat to be 14-0 and playing for a national championship. But in that Apple Cup, Washington needed a walk-off field goal to beat Washington State 24-21. They beat Arizona State 15-7. There have been times this year where they've been gettable. Now, you can look at the Apple Cup and say, okay, well, weather in the Pacific Northwest in late November, sure. And this is going to be in a domed, controlled environment in Houston, and I completely agree on that. But the other side of it is the other side of the ball, where, yes, Washington had a great game plan for Bo Nix, and for a half anyway, really stymied that Oregon offense, but still allowed 31 points. This Washington defense is 94th in the country in total defense and 53rd in the country in scoring defense. J.J. McCarthy and Michigan's offense is going to be able to move the ball against Washington's defense. They're going to be able to play bully ball. When you have two teams that are stylistically different, the question in a matchup like this is who is able to impose their will and play their style of game. Washington wants to spread it out and run and get up and down the field. Michigan wants to have a black and blue game in the box and run the football and throw off a play action and stop the run and pressure the quarterback and shorten the game. And I just think Michigan on the line of scrimmage is that much better than Washington. I know Washington won the Joe Moore Award. I know, and I'm pulling for Washington. I'm pulling like heck for Washington in this game. And I think the world of Michael Penix, and that's why I picked Washington to beat Oregon. I picked Washington to beat Texas. And it is really hard to go against Michael Penix and Kalen DeBoer when they've been undefeated. But Jim Harbaugh is as good, is a better coach. He's been a longer tenured, better football coach than Kalen DeBoer. And while, yes, I think Michael Penix is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy, Michigan has this playoff experience already. They have not been in the championship game, of course, but they have been down this road before, and they are equipped, I believe, to limit what Washington tries to do and does really well. So I get it. Roma Dunze and Polk and those guys on the outside are awesome, and I will be pulling hard for Washington to win this football game. But I think Michigan at the line of scrimmage is too good. They play bully ball. They play their style, and I do like Michigan to win this game. Not only to win, but to win and cover. As a matter of fact, the line is ticking up, which was 4.5. It's now 6 as you continue to see money coming in on Michigan. And that doesn't surprise me tremendously, and I think it might even go higher before kickoff. But we'll let Jimmy settle that we'll let Jimmy settle that with us when he's with us here in a few minutes. All right, we're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Hey, we're moving now. It's the 8th. We're getting close to the middle of January. Remember, the end of this month, y'all, the end of this month is when the preseason practice begins for Traction's spring baseball and softball leagues. So go to the website, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. You'll see the Louisiana or Mississippi. Obviously, choose Louisiana if you're here. And when you scroll down, you'll see the softball league and the spring baseball league. The spring baseball league, everybody knows, and everybody's kids play Traction spring baseball. It's time to register now. But this is the first time they've ever had spring softball, a league. They've had camps and tournaments and stuff. This is the first Traction spring softball league. So if your daughter plays softball, starting with 8U, make sure you register now. Preseason practice begins the week of January 29th. So we're 3 weeks away from the start of preseason practice for spring softball over at Traction. Starts with coaches pitch, the 7 and 8U. The kids pitch and coaches pitch mix, 9 to 10U, and then the kids pitch is 11 to 12U. So you register now at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, we'll get to Autolocks. All right, Muse, give me your pick. You said you like Washington. Give me your pick.
Yeah, no, I do. I like Washington. I like what their offensive line was able to do against a very good Texas front where they only allowed 3 tackles for loss and didn't allow a sack on Michael Penix. If they can replicate that and he has time to pick apart a Michigan secondary that hasn't seen receivers like this, I think Washington's able to move the ball.
Except for Ohio State.
Huh?
Michigan hadn't seen receivers like that against Ohio State?
Well, okay, fair. Talent-wise, fair. Having the seasons and operating in an offense with that quarterback, not even a conversation. Talent-wise, I'll give you, but execution, talent, all wrapped into one, no, they haven't
quarterback
seen
is
it.
the differentiator.
Yes. So I like that aspect of it. I do agree with you that Michigan will move the football. It's just I think Washington has the ability to get it into a shootout, and I don't think Michigan's going to be able to keep up.
Ooh, I don't think they can get in a shootout, man. We'll see. That's their best bet. You make Michigan play a game in the upper 30s or 40s, that's Washington. Washington will be very comfortable in that type of game. I don't know. Paul, you want to give a pick? You got a feeling on the game either way?
I'm going to go Washington as well.
Oh!
I like it, Paulie.
Woo! Look at that!
Of the 2 quarterbacks, I trust Penix a whole lot more than J.J. McCarthy.
Okay. So do I, by the way. I just don't think it comes down to the quarterbacks because Michigan at the line of scrimmage is that much better than Washington. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Monday show's brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Big shout out to Brandon Holly and the gang over at Relief Windows. Relief Windows, purple and gold. Maybe they're cheering for a little purple rain tonight. I think we all are. I mean, look, I am cheering for Washington. My money is on the under. I have money on the under. I think Michigan is going to win and cover. I don't know if I'm going to play a side yet. I'll see how the otter feels about it. and then I'll make a decision. But, oh, my God, the roof at Energy Stadium is leaking. There you go. I saw it. I got a video. ML football. The roof is leaking before the championship game. That's so good. Stay hot, Houston. All right, it's after further review. Auto Locks next.
AFR.
A Thursday. I'm excited about this. Thursday is the grand opening of the newest Rouse's location. Rouse's on Florida Boulevard in Baton Rouge. We'll be over there for AFR on Thursday, and I could not be more excited to be out there with all my friends over from Rouse's to cut the ribbon. Now, the ribbon cutting's at 8 a.m., so I won't be there for the ribbon cutting, but we will be there for AFR at the new Rouse's on Florida Boulevard in Baton Rouge. So we are 3 days away. Rouse's right there on Florida. The first 100 customers, by the way, I love this. The first 100 customers are going to receive a mystery gift card, a free grocery items, and a reusable bag. So ribbon cutting at 8. Make plans to be at the new Rouse's. Everyone's going to get a mystery gift card, so different amounts, right? How cool is that? Come on out, and we'll see you there at Rouse's on Florida Boulevard this Thursday for the grand opening at 8 a.m. at Rouse's.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. Natty night. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, great weekend. Another winning weekend on Football Sunday. Congrats on that, on a great season. Big one tonight with the Natty, and a lot of ways that people go. Side, total, props. What are we looking at?
Man, I'm, a lot of these big games like a Super Bowl and things like that, people are going to bet the over. So it's kind of baked in a little bit, kind of a little bit higher, anticipating that type of action. But it's not something that I really want to do. You could correlate it if you want. You could maybe go with, Michigan and under parlay, go Washington and over. Some people do that, but it's a classic contrast in styles, man. The line of scrimmage team in Michigan, and your biggest fear if you're Washington is that, at time of possession, they like to play slow. Washington likes to go up tempo. They can strike quick. But at the end of the half, I think it's a big advantage to Washington, obviously. I still go back, Matt, to, Michigan's lack of explosive elements on the offensive end. I guess the Bama-Michigan semi was a bit clunky, maybe. But, maybe that's because they haven't played a lot of quality opponents. I think that Washington is more battle-tested, but I really don't think the biggest advantage is on the bench. Now, look, Harbaugh has done a great job with the program, but as far as game to game, DeBoer is proven that he is fine on the big stage. And I love their game plan against Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. I love their game plan against Texas in the semifinal. Forget the final minute. I mean, you can't forget it, but I overlook that, and I think it's way more important that he has his team, his quarterback, his offense, dictating how they play when they have the football. And that's why I'm going with Washington plus 5.5 tonight against Michigan. So not a ton of props and things like that. Just going to go with the Huskies plus the points.
All right, Otter's got the Huskies plus the points. I know I gave it out that I know Phil Steele was on the under as well, so that's at 56.5. I'm looking at 56 right now as well. So do you think Washington wins the game? Have you made a pick?
I mean, I think it's a coin flip type of game. And so, I don't know. I mean, it's worth a swing and on the money line. There's no doubt. I mean, that's a nice payday. But, the biggest fear is that Michigan kind of got their kinks out in that semifinal game. Kind of like you see maybe a team in March Madness get a scare, and then they're a lot more, it's a lot more like cleaner, smoother looking, after that. Maybe that's the case. But also, let's not act like Washington doesn't get stops. I mean, they've gone against some really good offenses, teams that are much more potent offensively than Michigan, like Oregon, and they got plenty of stops in those games, especially the Pac-12 championship game. Also like the fact that Penix is past his injuries as well. His parents had to drive him back from one of the road games because he had a punctured lung or something to that effect, where he could not fly with pressure, in the airplane. So I just think this is a cleaner team. I think it's a team that's a representative from a better conference this year. Michigan has more pros, but Washington's got, I think, the better pros. I think they're high-end guys like the quarterback and the receiver are just better pros than some of the guys that Michigan has. So, I just think it's a great game. It's a great game, contrasting styles, and I usually favor the lean toward the line of scrimmage teams. And there's one more thing too about the big stage, and I think it's reflective of your coach as well. And I talked about DeBoer had no problem looking real sharp on the big stage. Undefeated as an underdog, undefeated against ranked opponents, and that is their reaction to winning. Man, they took it way more in stride, sort of expecting to do it, and also knowing they have one more game to play in their post-game reaction than what I saw in the Rose Bowl with Michigan. So, I mean, say what you maybe because, it was a come-from-behind type of deal or not, but I think Washington is mentally prepared. I think they're physical enough to not just Washington lean on them, and I love the bench. So I'm for all those reasons, I'm going with them. But, make no mistake, this Michigan team is one we've been looking at way, way early in the season. When word was out, they're going to have probably the most players drafted that they've ever had in their school's history. They won more games than anybody in the history of the program. That's all fine. I'm not going crazy on all the distractions with Harbaugh going to the pros or, the stealing the signs, the whole bit. I mean, they've had that sprinkled in all season long. I'm just going back to, this team does not have a ton of explosive plays over the course of the season, and they're playing a tougher team tonight.
Hey, Otter, real quick before you go, I'm looking at DraftKings. They don't have it. Any idea where the money is on this game? Percent of wagers or bets?
A little bit more on Washington. We talked about it earlier in the show. I have not looked at it since we were on the air, Matt, but it was like 54% of the tickets, spread tickets, were on Washington. Actually, a little bit more people that are betting the money line are betting Washington. They're trying to get a little bit more of a payday.
1 minute remaining.
Sure. So a little bit of a public dog, but we also saw this the day of the action. The game day action pop this line up a point, a half a point or a point for the 5 or 5.5.
All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee, just off of Nicholas.
Very good. Be recapping the Natty. Catch Otter and Hanny every weekday for Live at Lunch. Thank you, Otter.
All right, man.
All right, be well. Jimmy's got Washington plus the points. Muse and Paulie like Washington to win. I'm on Michigan to win and cover. That's not where I'm playing, though. I'm playing the under in this game. I think there's value there, under 56 or 56.5 if you can get it. So come back and we'll talk about it all tomorrow. Muse, Paulie, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great night. Go Huskies! See you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products, that you use to weigh and measure. So cool. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you go check out Michelli on LinkedIn. If you don't follow them there, at a big reveal earlier today, the brand new sales and marketing suite at Michelli's Harahan office, the home office there in Harahan. The marketing team was tasked with creating this sort of creative space that sparks big ideas and a lot of joy as well. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Y'all check it out. What a great place to go visit. A place that's been a part of Louisiana, owned and operated 76 years now, nationally. More than 11. You're in about 30 offices across 11 states and growing every single day. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Check them out online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com for 76 years. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.